Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Eeks and Geeks.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Lauren.
I'm Kirsten.
I'm Siberia.
And I'm Pumpkin.
Yay! We took a little teeny tiny summer break.
We
Just
had
a little.
plans.
We had some stuff going on, and then we all got back from our stuff, and we were all like, what if we just don't record this
What if
week?
I like so little?
What if we just took another week off? So we did that, but we're all feeling great. We all missed each other. We're happy to be
Yay.
back. Well, I guess we'll talk about what we watched this week, and then we can chat about other things we've watched in the last few weeks. We'll catch up time. So if you missed it, this is the last movie in our foreign horror film block. It is my choice. This week we watched the 2010 Korean thriller called I Saw the Devil. If you missed this one, it follows the story of a man seeking ultimate revenge on a serial killer who murdered his wife. On Rotten Tomatoes, it currently has a score of 81% from critics and 87% from audiences, and has a runtime of 2 hours and 20 minutes. But before we start chatting about that, what's it fun down watching?
I watched a lot of shit over
Go
the past
on.
week. Because on the plane ride to San Diego, I watched X.
Slay.
Okay.
And it was really good. It was the wrong choice for a middle seat between strangers.
What, you mean the movie where they film a porno?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
Well, the one with the boobs. The one. Yeah, I kept being like, I'm just gonna hold my iPad.
I did do it, like I was watching Outlander on the plane, and I was like, I'll just hold this as close to my face as
I was like,
possible.
and I really enjoyed X. I need to watch Pearl now.
I love Pearl.
X.
You're gonna love how they tie together. It's so good.
And I watched Bodies, Bodies, Bodies on the plane ride home.
Okay, what'd you think about that?
I thought it was fun.
Okay.
The plot twist at the end is hilarious.
I thought it was so funny.
But it's not one that I'm like crazed over. Like
Yeah,
some
I agree.
people, I felt like
Yeah.
some people were like, this is the best movie that's ever been
Yeah.
made.
Literally, people were losing their minds over that movie, and I was like, it was fun, it was
I was
good,
like,
but it wasn't
It
like
has peak
revolutionary.
Let's be
Yeah.
real.
Yeah, like it's fun. I had a good time.
You know, the plot twist at the end, I was literally losing it. That was so funny. I was like, what the fuck?
Anything else? Did you watch anything after Bodies, Bodies, Bodies?
And then I watched a horror short film, 2 of them.
One.
One is called The Chair on YouTube. And it's
Kristen, did we watch that one?
That sounds familiar.
We watched a bunch of horror shorts one night.
and then there's one called it's like from What's Inside the Box, or like Tales from Inside
Oh,
the Box.
I watched it. It's the other side of the box.
The other side of the box.
Is that the one where he like
Yeah.
is that the one where
he's
he
like-
peeks?
That one is so
That
good.
one is so fucking
We just
scary.
watched it too. It's on my
Literally,
list.
scary.
one of my nightmares is the one where like you turn your head and they get closer to you.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
When he's like in the car and the guy's like, you can't take your eyes off
It
of
was
it. It's
you.
You.
And it's
like,
like,
oh, shit.
oh no.
Oh shit.
And then yesterday I went to the theater and saw Talk to Me. It's crazy.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was
would
really
say
good.
it's like if Hereditary and Smile had a baby.
Okay.
That's like a
Oh.
little less good than both of them.
Yes, like it doesn't quite live up, but it's very strong. I would
Okay.
give it like an 8.
Did either of you watch anything?
I watched the Barbie movie. That's it.
Slay Barbie.
Yeah.
Loved her.
I loved it.
I saw Barbie, and then I watched an anime that made me cry really fucking hard at the end. I also recommend it. It's an older one, Madoka Magica. It's only 1 season, and it's not horror, but it's definitely like when you realize when like the twist kind of drops as to what's actually going on, you're like, oh, that's not good.
Or
That's gonna be bad for someone.
It's kind of bad for everybody. But yeah, I haven't watched anything scary.
I finally watched Beau is Afraid.
What did you
What
think?
did you think?
I really liked it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought, I mean, it's obviously very weird and certainly not for everyone, but I thought it was really funny and
Yes.
while being bizarre, it was definitely too long. There's a lot that I would
Yes.
have cut from it. But I was expecting to like, I don't know, because I had just heard it was so bizarre that like probably not gonna like it. And I was pleasantly surprised. I thought it was quite good. I don't
I'm
think it
curious,
was-
what do you think of the play scene?
I
Necessary or like
I really liked the concept, but that
Yeah.
scene was so too long, which
Yeah.
is a shame because
Agreed.
it's like I love that like interjection of like an animated little, part in a movie. So I really liked the idea of it, but it was like, woo, this is like actually 30
Yeah, I
minutes
was
long.
like, do you see what I mean by it feeling like one of those dreams where like you're late for work, but then the bus is covered in spiders, and then you're just like, what is happening?
Yeah, very much so. But like I thought the whole story that it was trying to tell was actually still cohesive, like throughout the whole thing, and like the ending scene was I liked the ending a lot.
What did you think of the attic?
I was gonna ask the same thing.
That was a scene.
Because the whole theater was like screaming with laughter.
Yeah.
You're like,
Our
what?
theater was laughing.
Also in this time I rewatched X. We just the other night watched a movie called Clock on Hulu that was like horror based around like women's societal pressure to have children.
Ooh.
So that
Okay.
one was good. We watched a very interesting one the other night called Significant Other, which was like kind of a sci-fi horror
Oh.
comedy, and it was very odd, but we both really enjoyed it. And then Talk to Me was the last one. All right, shall we get on to the movie?
Yeah, let's
Yes.
Do we want fun facts or final thoughts first?
let's do
Fun
some fun facts.
Fun facts.
Okay, they're not very fun,
Oh.
as they never are.
Boring facts.
Just facts.
Just give me facts.
Just facts.
It happened.
Yeah. So the first one I have is this movie is actually loosely based off of a real serial killer, Yoo Young-chul, a South Korean murderer, sex offender, and cannibal that was convicted of over 20
Ooh.
murders from 2003 to 2004, and he was nicknamed the Raincoat Killer.
Ah,
Cool.
Oh, yay, real life story.
fun.
Did he like wear a raincoat while he did it? Is that
I
why,
don't know.
or-
I didn't read more into it, and I was like, okay. Second one, this movie was almost titled Night of the Subtropical Zones, which I think we can all agree is a bad title.
Terrible name.
If you
I was actually gonna complain about the title of the movie, and
Oh.
then that just made me be fine with it.
like,
Really?
if you,
Like, actually,
liked
they
it.
nailed it.
if you were like, we're gonna watch Night of the Subtropical Zones, I would have been like, huh?
No, we're actually not watching that.
I
was
would
like,
have thought
oh
you were
my
talking about
God.
like a B-rated 80s horror movie.
know,
That's
yeah.
what that sounds like.
I was like, how is that even like up for discussion that was almost the
Yeah.
title? Like, it's so weird.
Vetoed.
Yeah.
What does subtropical mean?
I don't know
Below
if that's
top.
like a lost in translation kind of.
Because Korea
But-
is not below tropical, so I'm
Yeah.
not really sure.
I don't know why it was almost called that. But that's a fun fact. I think we can.
That
agree
That
that's
was
a fun
funner.
The first one, yeah.
Okay, and the last one I have is the Korea Media Rating Board forced the director to recut the film for its theatrical release, objecting to its violent content. Otherwise, the film would have gotten a restricted rating, preventing any sort of release in theaters or home video. 7 cuts were made, with a total runtime removed material between 80 and 90 seconds.
There
Oh.
was more that got cut out.
90 seconds worth.
Damn.
Oh, okay.
So it's like 7
We
cuts,
saw
but it's
real
like a
ass
minute and a half.
decapitation, and that was fine.
Yeah, this is already pretty bad. I'm not
Mhm.
really sure what those other 90 seconds contained.
I did read, so just as a trigger warning, which I should have issued in the last one, but I did not see it. There is like a sexual assault scene in this, and I was reading that originally in that scene, they were supposed to have sex, but I guess the actress who was playing the woman was like not too into it, but she was like, the way she was playing it was like, it looked like she was enjoying it. And they were like,
Oh.
that's not really the
No.
tone we're
Yeah.
going for in this scene. And he was like, we didn't know, it was like too weird to try to like cut around it, so they just like cut it out, which I'm glad that they did. But
Yeah.
They
So
could
maybe
have
that.
told the actress, like, pretend you don't like it.
Yeah, they were
Have
like,
you-
I think she's like into it, and then they were like, we can't make this work.
You
Too
pretend
weird.
like you
Yeah.
don't like being forced upon.
Yeah, so I don't know what that was about, but maybe
Weirdly
that
enough.
maybe that came up with part of that 90-second cut that
Oh.
happened.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, well, we have again, like, no one has talked about their thoughts on any of this, so I'm very curious to see everyone's opinions on this one. I'll start with Kirsten. What did you think of this movie?
I like this movie. I think it was too long. Like there's some things that could probably be cut, but I really liked it. It's so funny because in the very beginning I was like, spoiler alert, I'm gonna spoil the movie, people.
Spoiler territory.
Like when it first showed him, I was like, wow, he's not really showing any kind of emotion for his like fiance dying. I was like, this kind of sucks. And then like the ending scene happened when he just like breaks down, and I was like, okay, that's
good.
good choice. I was like, all right, I get what you were doing there. Yeah. Yeah, I really liked it. I got very scared when the sexual assault scene was happening. But it's one of those where it's like, it's not put in there like, well, now knowing that they did show stuff, I was like, oh, they didn't show anything. That's great. Like, it's not put, I don't feel like it's like in there to be in there. I feel like it shows how shitty this guy is, and like you don't see anything, and then it's like cut pretty quick because somebody comes in. So I thought that was great. I gave it like an 8 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tiberian, what do you think?
I really, really liked this movie, and I thought it was a good movie up until the last scene with the guy walking down the street, like away from the house, and then I thought it was a great movie. Like it was so good. I like this movie. Like I was enthralled in this movie like the whole time. I almost don't even have the same complaint as Kirsten where it's too long, because I was so into it the whole time that I didn't even care how long it was, because the acting was so solid.
Yeah.
And just this whole movie is just like tense.
Yeah.
Like it does not let up for a single second, and I appreciate that so much, because there's so many movies that are this long that take their time to be like, it's gonna be tense soon and you can feel it.
Yeah.
But this one just like from the very beginning, it's like, yeah, he's killing people. Okay.
Yeah, get used to it.
And I love that it's just like a huge, horrifying episode of Tom and Jerry.
That's true.
That's what this movie is, and I absolutely love it. Like I gave it a 9 out of 10. I
Wow. Okay.
And I think it doesn't do any of it to be gratuitous.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, Punky, what do you think?
I also really liked this movie. I have to say, every time it like it took me a while to like it, because every time I was like, why would you do this? Why would that be happening? It like answers that question. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then it'd be another scene of me being like, what the fuck are you thinking? That's so stupid. Why would you do that? And then they'd answer it. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I have to say, like, the movie like kept me like annoyed, and then like, oh, and then annoyed, and then like, oh.
Yeah.
So like I kind of almost didn't want to like it, but the movie was like, no, we outsmarted you. And I was like, they're like, you're being impatient, we're gonna answer your question. And I was like, fine, you got me. But yeah, like the acting is really good. This movie almost kind of made me think about the way like some weirdos are like way too into like true crime and serial killers. And this movie sort of showed like how much everybody, like a whole community, like grieves.
Yeah.
Like it was so sad, all of the acting. And I love like a revenge story. I love seeing your hero like become a villain. Like it's just so, you're like, yeah, get him.
He's becoming a villain in the name of something that you saw happen.
Yeah. Like I would become a villain too. Like it's so fucked. Like who wouldn't do that, you know?
Yeah, everybody's like, oh my god, you idiot, you crazy, what are you doing? And I'm like, slay, bitch. Like
go off.
Like honestly, I'm here for it. I could give it like, I think an 8.5 out of 10.
Okay, so
wow, I'm actually so excited. I was really unsure of
one more thing that I love about it real quick before
yeah.
your final thoughts. I also love that this movie doesn't pick a side. You are alone. You're alone with our hero a lot, and you're also alone with our villain a lot. So you get both very personally, and then when they're together, you're like, oh.
Yeah. I like that too.
So I think that's a really good tactic for this story specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very happy that you guys liked it because this is the second time that I watched it, and I was a little nervous picking it because I was like, I remember liking it, but I didn't really remember it very much. So I was like, I hope it was as, I hope it's actually good. So I sort of summarized some of my thoughts here. And the first thing I said was, despite having a very long runtime, I think this movie does an amazing job of like maintaining an engaging pace throughout the whole time, because we say all the time almost every horror movie can be an hour and a half long, and like most of the time when it's over that, it's like, girl, like cut some scenes, it's too much.
Wrap it up.
And so when I like went to watch this and I saw it was 2 hours and 20, I was like, that's really fucking long. But it really is like engaging the entire time, which I think is like kind of hard to achieve, especially with a movie like this, especially with how much there's like quite a lot of gore in this movie. And so to like maintain it and keep it interesting and like not have any like gore fatigue for the viewer.
I didn't feel desensitized at all.
I like the concept of the cat and mouse game that the protagonist starts, but I do think maybe one of them could have been cut just to make the movie a little bit tighter. And I think specifically like the hospital scene it didn't really add anything that we don't already know about him. Like we've already just seen a scene of him like about to sexually assault someone, so it's like it doesn't really add anything. Like it doesn't add anything to his character, and like so just having that extra one in there is like, that could maybe be pulled, but like it's not a huge critique for me. And I wrote something specifically. I said I'm all for the prolonged psychological and physical torture of a serial killer rapist, but not at the expense of him being able to get a hold of more victims, which I think is like like if you want to do this thing where you're like torturing this guy that's murdered your wife, it's like to put him in a room, you know, like letting him go back out into the world and like chasing him in that way is like, okay, well, he's gonna keep doing what he's been doing, Go ahead.
Also, making his parents and son watch him get beheaded, I was like,
damn.
Okay, they didn't do anything. Right. I don't know that they really deserve that. It's kind of funny, but
I mean, I do think it adds to like the main character being just like a flawed person. It's like, okay, it's obviously not like the right thing to do, but he's doing it because he's fucking pissed, like he's maybe doing something that's not rational, but I think that adds to like him as a character. All of the acting is amazing. I believe these characters so much, particularly the scene where the bad guy is in the cop's house, like toward the end, and he's just sort of like drinking something out of the fridge and like eating something. And I said out loud, I was like, this man is so believable as this man. Like, I don't know.
It's scary. Like he's like scary.
He's crazy. He's so scary because he's so crazy and like calm, like while he's crazy and confident and just like, you don't know who you're fucking with. Like, I will destroy you, and I'm not afraid to do that.
The scene where he gets in the car with the two other guys and just like is like going to fucking town with them.
That's like kind of one of my favorite parts in the movie.
I love that scene.
Crazy.
The whole time I was like, oh, you're gonna crash. Oh, you're gonna crash. Oh, you're gonna crash. Because it was just like so intense, and you're like, oh, you're gonna crash. You're gonna crash. You're gonna crash.
I'm excited to talk about that scene because I love that scene.
That's a good scene.
I love a hopeless ending, and I think this movie does a great job of like having this crazy, like, I love a revenge film, so it's like such a good satisfying revenge, but it so conveys just like, nobody won here, like it's just a really sad, hopeless, everybody lost. And so overall I give it a 9 out of 10. I really like this movie.
That gives us a 8.6.
Okay.
That's about
That's really
it.
close to Rotten Tomatoes.
That really
Yeah,
is.
it's pretty much
Actually.
right on.
We're always spot on with these Rotten Tomato
Almost
reviews.
always.
Yeah.
Almost.
Almost.
But I will say the title, I thought it was gonna lean more supernatural. Not gonna
That's fair.
I
so
did too. Yeah.
A misleading title.
I kind of liked that it made me the whole movie. I was like, he's the devil. Oh, he's the devil.
Is
No.
he seeing the devil in himself?
He saw the devil, or he saw the devil. They're
Or
each
the
other's devils.
Devil in both.
Yeah, they're definitely each other's devils for sure.
Yeah, I really liked the title. I felt like as I watched it made more sense.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Part 1. A school bus driver named Jung. We're gonna struggle through this, and I will do my best through the names. Jang Chung Chul. What'd you say?
I said I did Train to Busan. I struggled through it.
Yeah, it's so okay. He encounters a woman pulled over on the side of the road talking to her fiance as she is waiting for help after getting a flat tire. After beating her unconscious and bringing her to his home, he methodically dismembers her, unaware of her ring dropping and getting stuck in the drain. Kyung-chul scatters the body parts into a local stream where it is discovered by a young boy. This prompts the police to conduct a search led by Squad Chief Jang, the woman's father. Her fiance Kim Soo-hyun, an NIS officer, vows to take revenge against the murderer. Quick little plot, little part 1. I have never seen such a clusterfuck of a crime scene.
Yeah.
Oh.
What?
Like,
I was like, what? Who are all of these people? Get them out.
why is there a crowd here?
Get some tape up. Like, keep these people out of here.
When he just trips and the head falls out of the fucking box and he's like, oh shit, let me get it.
Or he like slips it back in.
When like the whole investigative team is there and he's like, I think I see a head. He's like, poke it. I was like,
He's like, yeah, turn it around.
It's like, it's clearly hair.
Poke your fiance's decapitated head. Go ahead, do it.
Yeah,
like,
go do it.
But that wasn't him though, was
that
it?
wasn't him. No.
Oh, who was? I don't remember who.
It's just
It
like
was
some
like
guy.
a volunteer, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
A volunteer.
I
I
love
think it
the
was
scene.
like a search party volunteer.
Yeah.
But don't let's poke evidence with sticks. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's
Seems-
not do
So
that.
drop it on the ground out of the box. Sorry.
Also, that kid who was just left unattended, just walking around, and he's just like opens up a bag and
Finds a
pulls
bag
out
of
an
ears.
ear. I was like, watch your children, please. They're gonna find ears
We're
and
like
bags.
right next to a freeway, and so it's like, can we go like a little? Can you throw your evidence farther away than like off the freeway?
Right.
Yeah, also for like not wanting to get caught, you're really bad at like hiding the evidence. So.
It's sort of one of those things though. I feel like isn't that kind of thing with serial killers where they like almost kind of do want to get caught, like
Yeah,
covering their trail, but not like.
I'll come.
Yeah, because he's very what?
The serial killers are like, don't catch me, I'll come.
Oh my god.
Yeah, because a lot of his stuff is just kind of sloppy, like in the way he does it, which is why I'm surprised he didn't get caught sooner, just because like he's so like, and I mean, like people come, like his family knows where he lives, so it's just like it's just like kind of like crazy how like
he's giving like a rough spritz of like the blood into the drain. Like,
yeah.
that's good enough.
I feel like you're both pretty sloppy though. Like,
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, I think the events of this movie take place in like 3 days or something. So
That's true.
Oh yeah,
Seems-
that's true.
told me it was 2 hours and I'd have believed you.
But I think this movie really only had like one jump scare, and it was really effective when the fiance's in the car and she like turns on the lights and he's like standing right there with the bat. So scary.
Yeah, and I love the opening scene of them like talking to each other on the phone, and he like goes to the bathroom, is like
he's like singing
to her on the phone.
That was really cute.
So cute.
But it gave me second embarrassment when the other guy walks in. He's like, yeah, anyway.
I feel like I would have like, because she does the right thing, like she doesn't let him in and she rolls up her window. But if I saw him just like sitting there, I would have called my fiance and been like, "Hi, I'm gonna keep you on the phone because there's this
is
guy."
I
exactly
would have
where I
driven
am.
on the flat, dude. Like
Yeah.
I will
Yeah.
drive on the rim to get out of here. Fuck my car. I'm
I would've-
saving
yeah.
myself, dude.
I would at least had like my phone though, just like so my body would be found faster.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like so one of those like perfectly encapsulates like how scary it is to be a woman, because like even if you're doing all the right stuff, it's like she just rolls her window down a crack and she's like, no, I'm gonna wait, and like she's in her car and she's on the phone, and it's like it doesn't matter if someone's crazy, they're just gonna fucking break through your windshield
and figure it out.
Yeah, and it's just like, ew, it's so scary. I hate it.
Yeah, it's so gross.
I hate how like calmly and politely and nicely she asked to like be spared. She was like, I'm pregnant, and he's like, it's too bad. Just
whack. Doesn't give a fuck. Literally does not give a fuck.
Literally, he was like, not anymore.
Yeah,
like so easy. Like
he's such a scary villain.
The nonchalantness of him from the beginning is so scary.
The like emptiness behind his eyes, just not feeling for anybody at all.
This is where I was like, because it makes sense later because he holds it all in, but like the way he was reacting, I was like, I feel like you should show more emotion when your fiance just like that. It makes sense later because it's like he's holding it all in until that moment, but like
in shock.
In the moment, I'm just like, how are you like so calm about this? And then when all the events unfold, I'm like, okay, I see. It's kind of like how you said, Pumpkin, how you were like, why are you acting this way? Oh, I see.
But like with that shot of him finding out and like the music that's like swells underneath, like this movie is very beautiful.
Yeah, it is really
pretty. Like it's gorgeous.
Oh, the music's good.
And that was one of the moments where he's like contemplating like what to do. Like you can just tell he's just like sitting there thinking, and it's just like music and him for like I'd say a solid 30-40 seconds. And I was sitting there being like oh shit. Like it was so good and so enthralling.
Her dad, his acting, like his crying and everything was really good. Yeah, I liked also when the crowd does kind of like try to swarm the crime scene to like get a look at the head, and I think he's like the chief of police or whatever he is, and he says, you call yourselves humans. I was like, get their asses, those weirdos. I don't like even true crime people, by the way. So
even like when they're cremating her body and like her whole family is like outside the window and just all of them like in hysterics, and it's like you don't need to know, you don't know anything about her, like you don't even know the characters yet, and you can just feel like, because imagine that, like if you had someone close to you like raped and murdered and dismembered and their body was like thrown in a river, like that would be the most
horrifying,
jarring, like horrific way that someone close to you could pass. It's like
like that's something you never stop thinking about.
Yeah, because it's like horrible. How could anyone ever do that to another human?
Yeah.
What?
And what's crazy, and before I even knew that this was like based off of a real serial killer, when we were watching the scene of him, like, you know, the moment that the person wakes up in like the torture dungeon, you're like, boy, that's not where you want to wake up. Yeah. And it's just like, this is a real thing. Like there are people all over the world who just like do this. They like kidnap people and they do this and no one ever finds them. They're just like, that's a lot of missing cases. And it's so scary.
So scary.
The way they show it. It feels so real and just like, they just get chopped up and no one ever finds them. And
that's how it is.
Yeah, that just happens. It's very sad.
Yeah, and I thought they did a good job. I think like Kirsten said earlier, like that no matter how like nice or polite or smart she was, or how kindly she asked, how calm she kept, no matter how hard she fought back, like you're just screwed because some people are just evil.
Because he's just crazy.
Yeah, he's just crazy.
Which I was wondering, I was like, I made a note, I was like, what does he do with like the flesh he keeps? And then later I was like,
oh. And they were roommates.
It's all terrible.
Yeah,
really, really bad and awful.
Yeah.
Love this movie though.
Chapter 2.
Oh yeah. Any other comments on this little opener here?
I don't think I had any.
I've said what I need to say.
Okay, part 2. Soo-hyun learns of 4 potential suspects and takes it upon himself to search them out for interrogation. We know what happens here. During this time, Kyung-chul murders another victim, a young woman waiting for a bus at night. After Soo-hyun speaks with Kyung-chul's estranged parents and son, he searches his house, finding souvenirs from other victims along with his wife's ring in the drain. Kyung-chul knows he's been found out and begins an assault of a young girl that he was supposed to be driving home from school. Soo-yeon faces off with him in a greenhouse and beats him unconscious. Instead of killing Kyung-chul, he forces him to swallow a tracking device to follow his movements and listen to his conversations. So this is like pretty intense, like, sequence to happen in the front half of the movie. And I was telling Siberia this when I was thinking of this movie. This is all I could remember. I thought that this whole section with like the greenhouse, I was like, that's the end of the movie.
No.
So when I was watching it last night, I was like, wait, there's still like an hour and a half left of this movie.
I was
like,
so
what
confused.
happens the rest of this movie?
I was like, what
Because I
else
was
could
like,
happen?
Yeah, I know.
Like,
I was like, is this not the climax of the movie? Like, what else
Literally,
could happen?
It feels like it could be if it was maybe like a more conventional plot structure.
also him just going and like fucking these guys up that he doesn't even know.
Yeah,
if
it doesn't even know.
He's
If it's
like,
him.
bitch.
Yeah.
When we first saw Soo-hyun,
Ay,
I was like, when we first saw him, I was like, he's whatever. But then when that dude who was like been jacking it or whatever, and like the computer goes out and he turns around and Soo-hyun's just standing there looking evil as fuck, I was like, hey.
Oh,
he's so.
him was
I
hot.
was like,
Yeah, he was hot.
wait,
all over.
okay.
He's been hot since the beginning. I can't believe I forgot to mention that. Like, he is
Yeah.
ball.
Yes.
He's
Yes, he
cute.
is.
He's not normally my type. He's cute, but yeah, when he like was like full psycho, like I will murder your
When
ass
he just
mode,
comes in a room and is like, you're like,
I was like, hi,
I know.
hey.
But like when he's crying at the end and you finally see his like teeth, I was like, he has such nice
I know.
teeth.
I was like, I know he's like sobbing and this is sad, but like he's got such a great smile.
Yeah.
Great. You have a great frown.
Grimace, I guess it is.
I gotta
Crying for me, daddy.
Oh no. I gotta say, when they go to the guy that's like jacking it, I was like watching it in my room and like Fallon was moving around and stuff. So when that stuff, like when the like her like high screeched moans, I was like, turn the TV down, turn the TV down. I was like, oh hell, just end the scene.
It's not for me.
This when he's just standing there like ass cheeks in the camera, I was like, I get it. Yeah, no, I get it.
He's whacking it.
I see. Yeah, his underwear's down. No, I noticed.
I know what he's doing. It's
But I do love, it's like, even though he doesn't know if this is the guy, it's still like, these are guys that have been,
They're not good people.
yeah, they're not good
People.
guys. So like, if you gotta bash their balls in,
It's fine.
I'm not gonna
I
stop
like
you.
that the camera stayed on the balls the whole time. It was like
Just
whack,
And then
And
when
you
the cops
saw
are like,
them,
they
like,
like beat his
like they
balls.
were moving under there.
Yeah, they
No,
were
I
realized.
the way the like detective chief or whatever was like, who broke your balls? Just like a straight face.
Not detective chief.
Whatever. I don't, what do you call them? What do you
Chief
call them?
detective.
What?
Yeah.
But some combination of those words. Okay. Listen.
Yeah, he really got his balls bashed in.
There's
and
also I don't think it was supposed to
He
be
did
funny.
kill his girlfriend. So
I was dying laughing though, like when the guy has like his mouth is full or whatever, and Soo-hyun's like, "Do you recognize this band?" He's like, like the way he's like crying and shaking his head was so pathetic. I was like dying laughing.
I thought the same thing that you said, Lauren, where like I get he wants to make him suffer, but like he did get so many more victims in it, which I guess shows the selfishness of like, I need to get my revenge. I don't really care about anybody else type of thing.
Mhm.
Like he's got he's got like tunnel vision. And because I even thought that at one point, I was like, I get it, dude, but like now these other women are getting like assaulted and stuff. Like, come on. Like,
And that's doubled down in the fact that he assaults that woman. This is in a later section, but he assaults that woman and then he fucks the guy up and then he's like, wait, can you stay and now like help him? It's like, oh boy, you don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
he
I was
doesn't
like-
give a shit. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was like, Soo-hyun, I'm having a hard time supporting you here. Like
Yeah,
I
it's
support
like,
you,
yeah.
give this
but
man medical attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like yeah, the one track mind of like getting his revenge is like at the expense of anyone else who is like in the line of fire, which is not, I don't know, it just makes him, I think, more of a real character, because it's like, boy, that makes you kind of a piece of shit too. Yeah, like.
And now that I think about the title, that does make sense, because like because they're both devils in some kind of way, in the way that they've like approached things. And also that's that morality issue, like the way that he like murders and like tortures this guy. He's going to go to jail for doing that most likely, but like the guy deserved it. It's like, you see it. I think even one of the detectives at one point, like when the cannibal's in the hospital, I'm skipping, sorry, when he's in the hospital and he says, I can't believe we're giving medical attention to somebody like this. In your brain, you're like,
literally,
it's
like,
crazy how we're doing that, right?
Eating a plate of girl the other like 20 minutes.
It's
but
like,
you gotta fix him up so you can take him to jail. Like, it's like,
it's gross.
I have to say though, so the scene where Jang picks up the other girl who's waiting at the bus stop, like, of course we already know he's the bad guy and everything, but I like, the acting was so good. That moment where she's like, isn't this a school bus? And he just like doesn't
say anything,
and it's just silent, and you can see her like stomach dropping of her being like, this is not good.
This isn't good. Yeah.
And like, I just felt it. Like, the acting was so good. You're like, no. Oh, she realized she's gonna get killed.
And for her, she was like so close to being smart enough to not get in.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, he could just get out, you know, like he would have, if he wanted to get her, it's like, okay, he would have just dropped the bit of trying to drive her somewhere and just like gotten out of the car and killed her or whatever.
I know that, but at the same time, it's still like, don't get in the car. That's like my thought process.
Like,
I know
that same scene, when he doesn't respond, it's so eerie. And then like how long he's like fiddling for his murder weapon, and he's just like, oh, where is it? I can't find it. And she's just like, like, can't find what?
That scene is so good because he's so nonchalant about everything, because he's just like, yeah, what am I looking for? And then she's just sitting there like, I don't know what the fuck he's trying to find, and then he like pulls it out and you're just like,
sets it right in between them.
And he's like, you know what that is? And she's like, a lead pipe. Like, hello.
I don't know what you want me to say.
I know. Like, I do know what it is.
Let me guess, the thing that's gonna kill me.
Because I think
the blood is like too realistic in this movie. Like, it's
he just like whack, whack, whack.
That's my complaint about a lot of horror, is that like the blood isn't realistic for me to like believe and be scared. But I was like, are these people like okay?
Yeah, there's a lot of head trauma in this. Everyone, there's a lot of like people very realistically like getting their heads.
The second cat and mouse moment when he's like beating the evil guy's head in, I was like, well, dead now.
Yeah, every time somebody woke up, I was like, how? Yeah. How are you alive? I just saw you get bludgeoned.
There's some unrealistic wounds. Trauma. I think, like when he gets his Achilles ripped out, it's like, I said it out loud to Joe. I was like, I literally don't think you'd be able to like stand. And he was like, no, you wouldn't be able to like put weight on that leg. Like, you'd be fucked up.
That was the point. I texted Lauren, and what did I say exactly? Because like when that Achilles thing happened, I was like, not all right.
Yeah, that was crazy, but we'll get there.
I said, not through the Achilles, ma'am.
Also, of course, he's a guitar guy. When he starts playing the guitar in that one scene, I was like, of course he is. Typical.
I really liked the scene of Soo-hyun like finding his house, and like the room not only just like all tarped off, but then like the 4 filing cabinets that are all locked. It's like, well, what sort of files do you got in there? I wonder what it could be.
Are the files my girlfriend's hands or something?
Well, then like bras and bags, not much better. Oh, the moment when he finds the ring in the drain, I was like, oh, now he knows for sure.
Yeah, he's like, this is the guy.
It was a pretty ring.
Yeah.
It's so sad. So he finds his ring in the drain. Okay, and then this is where
also it's crazy that Jang like has a son.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
That's
With
what
who?
that's what got me was
Oh,
when he
what?
found his family. I was like, he has a family?
Yeah, I was like, your parents are alive and you act like this?
I
Yeah.
wouldn't be surprised if the story is like he probably killed the mom at some point.
Uh,
That's why
Yeah.
there's probably no mom around.
Although
Well,
I
the mom was there. Oh,
No.
the kid's mom, not
Yeah.
his mother.
and he does
Yeah.
live with the grandparents. So maybe
Mhm.
there's like something there or
They probably know he's a fucking monster.
I
Yeah.
was gonna say I liked that the dad was like, no, he's a loser, he's a deadbeat, fuck him.
Mhm.
I'm like
Yeah.
ashamed to have him as a son. And the mom was trying to be like, no, don't say that, blah blah blah.
Mhm.
I was like, of course the boy moms. Always
Yeah.
the boy moms.
Yeah.
That's just my little man.
That's
He's
just my baby.
Murder serial
He's
killer
so why does he
boy.
look scary in this picture?
thought-
Because he's scary, bitch.
He's so fucking terrifying.
It reminds me of oh, what's that poor girl? Gabby, like that guy's parents, that real life story. Like,
Oh, Gabby Petito.
yeah,
Yeah.
and like they
I don't know
pretty
that
much
one.
like hid information about where he was, and it's just like I
It's
get
like,
it,
Stop
but
defending him.
don't defend. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nope. If I found out
too
somebody
fucked
in
up.
my family was like a serial killer, I would rat their ass out immediately because I'm like,
right
I'm
there,
probably
Your Honor.
next. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
Right there.
I don't know if I trust you.
So when Suhyun's like in his house and like the door creaks open, I thought Jang had opened the door. So I was like, why are
I
you
did
going
too.
over? I was like
Uh-huh.
freaking out. I was like, oh my God, you don't have a weapon. Why are you just
Yeah.
going over there? But then the door had just like moved open on its own. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, you're
Okay,
fine.
It set that up. It was going to be like a jump scare of some kind.
Mhm.
I was like, why are you so calmly just walking through that doorway?
Yeah, he's like right there. He's right behind me.
Right behind me, isn't he?
I had a sinking feeling when he like, the teacher's like, okay, girls, get home safe, and they all get in the bus, and you're like,
Take him straight home.
Mhm.
Yeah,
you
get
would,
them there,
don't
you're
want to
like,
be the
oh.
last girl on the bus.
And then you see the one and you're like,
Uh-oh. And then like him getting the phone call and just like knowing that the jig is up. And he's like,
Yeah.
well, have my
well,
last little
that
hoorah
was
here.
like, for me personally, that scene with the girl in the grave was like worse for me than the hospital scene.
No, me
I
too.
agree. Yeah. And I forgot about that too. So, and it
Yeah.
started and I was like, oh, fuck.
I was
like,
this is awful.
yeah, I know. I
Yeah.
was like, oh no, does something happen here? And then like, thankfully it didn't. And then
Yeah.
like, there was another one later and I was like, I didn't remember these scenes in here.
But this one, it was just like her acting was like so visceral
Yeah.
that I was like, get off of her.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah,
It's like so vulnerable and
you want to just like jump through the screen and be like, you fucker, get off of her.
Yeah.
Someone does.
Yeah.
You gotta go for him.
I liked the little bit of insight into how he sees the world because he's like just like rambling to her and he's like, who says I can't like you? This world is going to shit. The law is trying to like, I was like, okay, this dude like really thinks he should just be allowed to do whatever. He wants.
He has a few lines in the movie where he's like, oh yeah, all women just like see me as this fucking creepy guy. And it's like,
yeah.
Or
well, you're a fucking creepy guy.
Later when the doctor's like, okay, you're done. Leave my office. He's like, who do you think you're talking to? I was like,
yeah. That scene is so unsettling. Where he's like, take your glasses off.
Yeah, it's just like he's so, and I feel like it's also kind of scary because like I feel like we've all met somebody who kind of gives that vibe of like, I think you're living in the same reality as me, guy.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how you think things work here, but you're not like God.
Yeah.
We don't have to worship you.
Right.
And he takes like everything as disrespect. He gets so like easily upset by other people.
Yeah, I got
like,
that down too.
Very strange, but I'm like, ugh, if I've met people that have given me this vibe. I don't like it.
Too. It's
Ugh.
like,
I love like the face off though, like him just like whispering his name and he's like, wait, what the fuck? And then this face off in the greenhouse, I think is
so good.
So Hyun's like when he like swings around and kicks him, I was like, yeah, get his ass, bitch.
But yeah, when they're like running parallel, that he's like,
Yeah, it's I think throughout the whole movie there's like really good fight choreography, which I always appreciate.
Yeah.
Thought of him turning on the lights and the lights going like ding ding ding.
Yeah, it's so clever.
House is so good.
Or I was thinking when he like hits the cords with the knife and it like makes, you know, the lights are sort of flashing and it's like that's a very clever like actual reason for like the lights to be flickering in the scene.
Yeah.
I gotta say though, because Soo-hyun's like motives hadn't been revealed yet, so I was so confused. I was like, why are you here by yourself? And then he like leaves him alive and makes him eat a tracking device, and I was like, what are you doing? Kill him. What's happening?
It's just like, why wouldn't you kill him? That's so stupid. Like,
yeah, I was like, this was like part of the movie where I was like getting annoyed. I was like, this makes no sense. And then of course later I was like, oh, okay.
Because when this scene happened, I was like, so he's got him.
Yeah, right. Like,
slam movie over.
Yeah,
I was like, how much is left? An hour and 10? Okay.
Yeah. Like, what happens then?
Yeah, I was like, why didn't you go get the other cops so you can all arrest him? Like, what are you doing, Soo-hyun? Like, I was so confused.
Which is it's very eerie, and I don't think he says anything to him this time, but it's like in the next section where he's like, your nightmare's just fucking beginning, bitch. Like,
which is so good.
Yeah, and you're like, oh no, he's coming after him.
I wish he would have broken his dick and balls too, so that he couldn't have like hurt other women, but
yeah.
I was like, break this guy's balls. Like, come on.
Smash his balls. Smash everybody's balls. What's the deal?
You got that big rock. When he like held up the rock and then stopped
like,
himself, I was like, do it.
Yeah,
Smash
I was
his
like,
head in.
His balls.
Go ahead. Smash him.
I
I had a big old rock. Monkey mode, man.
Monkey.
Any other thoughts on this section?
All right. Did this cover when Jang wakes up?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. Part 3. Kyung-chul wakes up with an envelope full of money on his chest and is offered a ride by a taxi already carrying one passenger. Noticing their ill intent, Kyung-chul violently attacks first. After murdering them, he throws out the bodies onto the side of the road. He drives to a clinic to have his wounds looked at, and after being treated, he proceeds to sexually assault a nurse. Soo-hyun arrives, subdues him, and slashes his Achilles tendon before leaving. At this point, Soo-hyun's intentions became clear. He wants to torture Kyung-chul for as long as possible.
Bro.
When Kyung-chul wakes up, my notes are, why'd you leave him alive? A letter? Money? I'm so confused. And then he says, what the hell? And I was like, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that was confusing for sure.
I was like, kill him? Why did you give him money? What is happening? I was so confused.
Yeah, I was like, why is he alive? Okay.
Yeah. But the taxi scene,
oh my god, the knife choreo is so crazy.
Yeah,
and just like the tension building up of like, you see the guy in the back, like he's got a knife, and you can tell that the driver is like being crazy, and then like we already know our guy's crazy, so it's like, well,
he's like, oh, I'm gonna out crazy your asses.
I was like, I know. One is gonna out crazy our crazy. You are fucked.
Yeah. Y'all think y'all are crazy? You haven't seen crazy.
Just the way he stabs the absolute fuck out of these two guys is just like it's like so unhinged. It's crazy.
It's so unhinged.
It's so fast and just like just like, oh my god.
Before I realized there was somebody sitting in the back seat, I was like, you know, he's a psychopath because he sat shotgun in a taxi, and that's weird. And then I was like, oh, there was someone in the back. Okay, no, this makes more sense.
Yeah, because when he gets in the car and then you see the guy in the back, and you're like, okay, that guy's weird, and then
creepy.
And then it just like like you said, the tension keeps building. And then like once the stabbing happens, and then I started to get stressed out because I'm like, oh my god, you're gonna crash. Oh my god, you're gonna crash, because it kind of shows the outside. And it was just like
all over the road.
Staying on the road.
I was the driver and I was getting stabbed, I would just be like,
Yeah, literally. You're a little busy getting stabbed, though. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
was
true.
like, you're a little too confident that you're gonna survive this car ride where you stabbed the driver. He does survive. I don't really know
Yeah.
how, but I was like,
But like
I
he's
see-
so crazy. It's like he doesn't even give a fuck. He's like,
Yeah.
I don't care if we crash. Like I'm gonna get these motherfuckers. And then I even love like he gets out of the car and there's already like a body
A
in the
body-
trunk. And he's
how
like,
many
these
serial
crazy
killers
bastards.
are there?
Yeah.
Apparently a lot.
You're a serial killer. You're a
Yeah,
serial,
like,
serial
Korean-
killer. I'm a serial killer.
Are there any other
Are there any
serial
other
killers around here?
killers I should know about?
Meow.
Meow.
Also, it's not, I don't think it's supposed to be funny, but it made me laugh when he calls the doctor a shithead and the doctor just slowly looks up at him like, bitch, who the fuck do you think you're talking to?
The way the doctor is just like
The doctor's like, what is your problem?
Yeah, I'm like, dude. Yeah, the power play of that scene is so unnerving. Like telling someone to like take their glasses off is there's just something about that that's like
It's weird.
it's so
yeah,
weird.
ew. Like, why would you ask me to do
'Cause-
that? And then when he's like, take your fucking glasses off.
And
it's
also, like, his glasses are down here. You can see his eyes.
Yeah, he's not even looking through them.
I would
Yeah.
just went.
Because the doctor was so nice. He was like, be more careful when you play soccer
Yeah.
in the future and don't play soccer with your wrists. I don't even know how
Young
you did
chap.
that. Yeah. And then he's like, okay, appointment over. Bye. And he's like, who the fuck do you think you're talking to? And the doctor's like,
He's like a weird soccer player with
I
a
don't know. An old
I don't
man
know.
soccer player.
yeah, aren't you a little old to be playing soccer?
Like, I
Um,
think the way that he makes the nurse uncomfortable at the desk
Yeah.
for me would have been enough. So it's like, oh, when he gets back there, or when she goes back there and he's there, and it's just like, oh no.
The second you see him click the lock with his thumb, you're like, I can skip this scene.
Yeah,
I don't
I was
like it.
clicking. I was watching it on Amazon. It had like a 10-second skip, and I just kept clicking it until Soohyun showed up. I was like, I don't really need to see.
And you didn't
this.
miss anything. It's exactly.
And like
Yeah.
I just the boldness to do this like in a fucking like doctor's office, like what the fuck?
Like, for real.
Not
Yeah.
to victim blame, but I was like, girl, you're not gonna like scream or like.
I know. It's like, please fight back. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I
That's-
hate it.
Everybody in this movie like takes his shit a lot. And maybe it's like a cultural difference, but like even
Yeah.
like the later the guy in like the it's like a convenience store or something,
Oh.
like he's
Yeah.
like so rude and awful to everybody, and everybody's just like, oh. And
It's
I'm like,
oh my god.
tell him to piss off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
I think
everybody
that
just,
might
like,
be a
takes
cultural
his
thing.
shit. It's
Yeah.
so
Like,
crazy to
being
me.
a dickhole. Like,
Yeah.
stop.
Girl, bite his dick off.
Literally.
Oh, I
Yeah.
was waiting for it.
Bite
I
it
was like,
off.
"Ow."
Yeah. Like
Have I not
also there's a scene
said
'cause
what I would do?
he locks
Oh.
the door.
Dick off.
Gone.
He locks the door, walks past her to like look past this curtain thing. I was like, bolt, run, go,
Yeah.
let's go.
Yeah. Just go.
Listen, the second he's like strip, I'd be like, ooh, you like that? Like that's when you start selling it. That's
Yeah,
when
you just
start
pretend.
selling the bit.
Yeah.
He also like went and sat to watch her and left her by the door that he locked with just his little like ching. Like she
No,
didn't-
that was like the front door.
Yeah,
That's
he
like-
was sitting in front of the door later.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I had
But-
the orientation mixed
Yeah,
up.
the door that
He
door was
did
behind
walk
him.
away from it though.
Mhm.
Okay.
To like look through that curtain thing, whatever it was, and I was like, girl,
Okay,
run,
like,
run,
bye,
run,
girl.
go,
Yeah.
let's go,
time
go,
to
go.
go. Time to skedaddle.
Okay, then I just misunderstood the direction of that scene then.
I think that was one thing, maybe it's just as an American, that like drove me kind of crazy. I was like, everybody just like really puts up with this guy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
nobody is ever like, fuck
Yeah.
off.
I do.
Yeah.
I totally would attribute that to like a cultural thing because
Yeah.
don't people in Korea like it's like rude to even like talk on a train, you know? It's like a very
That's
polite.
Japan, but
Yeah.
I
Is
don't,
it
I don't
Japan?
know.
it's
I
just
don't
like
know.
very polite, quiet
Yeah.
sort
I
of
think-
culture. So I can see if someone is like that brash and just like in your face. I
Yeah.
mean, I think even if someone did that here, you'd just be like,
What the
Oh my god,
fuck?
like what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like it would be so startling that
I hope that person gets off soon.
yeah, like I don't want to confront that person because they're
Yeah.
obviously crazy. Like I don't want to get hurt.
I was rude to someone last week, so I can't relate. My old ass neighbor with a gray beard, he's literally like 50 or 60, came out of his house, walked down his driveway, and tried to hand me his number. And I laughed and said no and walked away.
God.
I was
What
like,
a nasty
no.
guy.
And just
Whoa.
left. I was like, I'm gonna be
Ew.
polite. And I was like, oh no, thank
What
you.
did you
Hi,
think was gonna
sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
read the
what?
room,
Ew.
bro.
Yeah, I was like, bro, you're like old enough to be my dad. No.
This is also another really great little fight sequence, and
Mhm.
him ripping out that Achilles tendon is insane. Like, what a crazy thing to
That is,
do,
like,
and I love that he does it.
nightmare injury. Like
Mhm.
that just feel like I could feel.
Yeah, that's one I could feel too. I'm like, ugh.
I've got a like an irrational. I don't know if it's irrational, but I've got a fear of like, because it's a thing that has happened before. Like people will hide under people's cars and like
Yes.
slash their Achilles heels as they're getting into their cars, and I have like a very big fear of that. And so just to like watch someone just like dig that thing out, it's just like, oh my god, it's horrible.
Yeah. My notes, I was like, why'd you even let him go in the first place to keep killing and raping people?
Yeah.
Like,
at
I was
least
getting
take away the function of his penis, like for real.
I was like,
Like-
okay, whatever, you want to play this cat and mouse game. Can you at least break his balls with a hammer?
Yeah, at least cut his dick
Or
off.
cut out his Achilles heel and don't let someone bandage it immediately. Like let that bitch hobble around. Like,
Break all
Yeah.
his fingers so he can't even
'Cause
hold a
when
knife
he
to kill
had, like,
someone.
a wrap and a boot in the next scene, I was like, oh, she like took care of it.
yeah, she
Yeah.
like mended his wounds. It's pretty fucked up.
Which, if you had left me with some guy who just raped me, I would have been like, yeah,
I'm-
I'll take care
yeah.
of him.
Like,
Yeah,
I think
sure.
Into the incinerator.
I'm actually taking the rest of the day off, if you can imagine my reasoning. Like,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I'm gonna actually tie him up in bandages and leave him here to starve, and I'm going
Mhm.
home. Goodbye.
Okay, are we ready?
Yeah.
Is this
This
what
one's-
chapter?
This is 4. It's a little bit of a longer one.
Okay.
Okay, Kyungchul visits the home of his friend Taeju, a murderer and cannibal. After learning of the situation, Taeju remarks that his tormentor must be related to one of his victims. Kyungchul realizes who Soo-hyun must be. Soo-hyun arrives and incapacitates both murderers along with Taeju's girlfriend. The next day, Taeju and Sejong, still unconscious, are arrested by the police and sent to the hospital. Elsewhere, Soo-hyun and Kyungchul receive treatment for their wounds, aided by Soo-hyun's trusted subordinate to evade the police. Kyungchul wakes up and overheard Soo-hyun and the subordinate talking about the tracking device. After being released, he steals and uses laxatives to shit out the transmitter and then plants it on a driver at a truck stop. I feel so bad for him.
Yeah.
Soo-hyun enters Taeju's hospital room to question him and learns that Kyungchul is going after Squad Chief Jang and his other daughter. Enraged, Soo-hyun rips his jaw open.
Yeah.
Discuss. It's a lot that goes on there.
I have to watch someone look through their poop
Oh, that's so
Hey.
gross. That part was
Horrible.
so gross. I was like,
because it was the most realistic poop I've ever.
My notes are literally just ew.
Okay, I also would like to make a note because I was like using Wikipedia's notes. I usually like copy and paste and then I like make my own changes to them. And Wikipedia said that he threw it up, and I was like
No.
positive that he shit it out.
He
And so I went
definitely
back and I
did.
rewatched the scene, and there's a scene of him like sitting on the toilet, like I
yeah,
was
he
like, okay, he definitely shit that out. He did not throw
definitely
it up.
shit that out. Yeah. And then he's like, yeah, and then he's searching through it. And I'm like, this is so gross.
So gross. And then to like immediately put it in someone's
I
mouth.
I think you should assume your audience is smart enough. You should assume your audience is smart enough to get the context clues that he dug it out of his poop. I don't have to see him look through
I
his
don't
poop.
need to watch that.
Yeah.
I don't.
He's like rinsing it off his fingers, like. But we're skipping over the whole cannibal section
Oh, yeah.
because that's
I
how
was
this starts.
I was very confused as to like when he's just sitting at the table with these people. I was like, hi, Who are you? What's
Hey.
why are we just like we're just eating bloody human meat?
Meat.
Who are
I was like,
you?
you're eating like baked human ziti right now with these intestines.
Oh.
Like I
He's like,
can't.
you wanna try a bite? And I'm like,
Yeah,
Dude,
they
Yeah, it
like
looks so
took
gross and
never
real.
have another meat again, and I was like, then I'm good.
I'm
They, like,
solid, man.
took their time explaining that they know each other. So I was just like, there's a long like 5 minutes where I was like, hi, who are you? Hello? Why are you relevant to the plot? Why are you so cool with just eating human meat? And then
Yeah.
and then they
Well,
talk
yeah.
about how they know each other, and I was like, okay, well, thank you.
When he like first gets there, it very much feels like he's just like rolling up to someone's house.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, this is weird. And then it's like, oh well, they know each other. So
Yeah.
you
And,
know,
like,
murderers
they
find
park outside
murderers.
and they're like, it's probably someone of that bitch you killed.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, yeah, maybe.
I thought you were gonna
I love the whole kitchen kill. Oh, it's not a kill, but like the whole kitchen scene, like
oh, he's got a gun.
getting his hand and like tying him up, and he's like gonna kill him the way that he kills people.
And when he just he tries to pull the screwdriver out, it's like,
and the handle pops off.
I'm a weenie. I would have starved to death there, but like I'm stuck.
well, I know I would have just tried to grab the screwdriver again and pull it out, like with just the bar.
I think it's like in the wood though.
Yeah, I think
I
would
think
have
he
to
had to
slide
get
your hand
his-
out.
Built different.
Wait,
Oh, okay.
no, and did I miss something? Why did he just all of a sudden start attacking his girlfriend? Did I miss something? I did go pee at this point. I
His
think.
girlfriend attacked him.
Yeah.
That
Okay, I
dude's
missed-
girlfriend attacked
I
Soo-hyun.
think.
Yeah.
This is probably when I went to the.
Which I was like,
No. He starts attacking his own girlfriend, like he's about to kill her. Yeah, that whole scene. He's like in the kitchen with her.
no, that's some other girl.
It's someone he pulled out of like a freezer in the back. It's
Yeah.
just like some woman.
It looked
Yeah,
like her.
like he's got someone like stored in the back
he's
for
like,
fresh meat.
Okay,
And he
sorry.
goes to like this
It
He
looked
goes-
like
wide woman.
it looked like her. That's why I was so confused. I was
We're all like,
Yeah, I was like,
He
hello.
was like,
Oh,
I
I don't
really
know.
don't have any more intestines. And he's like, I guess I have to get some fresh ones. Come
yeah.
on.
Yeah, so
Which-
it's just like someone.
He is like
Oh, okay.
so shocked to turn around and she's not there. I was like, did you think she'd just be waiting patiently?
yeah.
And I was like, of course she fucking booked it. You turned
Yeah.
around. What do you mean? Why are you
Good,
surprised?
good for her. Like someone's got to make it out of this
Run,
house.
bitch. I'm
But-
with
Yeah.
you.
Also, that girlfriend is a dumbass. Like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would have been like, my boyfriend and his friend have been caught. I'm
Yeah.
fucking sneaking out of here before this
Mhm.
detective guy whoops my ass. But no,
I've never
she,
met these men.
she gets a beating. I was like,
I would've
girl,
pretended to be one of the victim girls. Like,
Yeah.
I'd have been
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh my, they're keeping me here.
yeah,
Mhm,
rescue
yeah.
me, please, save
Yeah,
me.
save yourself.
Yeah, get me out of here.
Yeah, it's-
Can I just say how much I loved the little jar of fish hooks on the floor?
So good.
One
Home
of-
Alone.
One of
Home
Joe and I's
Alone.
one of Joe and I's favorite like cliche moves in a movie. We just call it like pocket full of sand, like when you throw
Pocket
sand
sand.
in someone's eyes. And
Good
so like that whole part we were like pocket full of fish hooks. It's like way
Yep.
better. I love that. He's like
Oh,
Pocket
this
sand.
scene also when Soo-hyun starts like beating at the back of his head, there's like blood splurting
yeah.
out of his
And then I'm
head.
like, he has to be dead. That was the
I
part
was
where I
like,
was like,
he's
he
Yeah.
has to be
dead.
dead.
That guy's dead. No.
and he does it to both people. So you're like, well, this is it. They're
They're
fucking goners.
goners.
And then they're both just like in the hospital. It's like they
Oh.
had like blunt force trauma.
Yeah.
Like
Bad.
your brain is scrambled eggs, babe.
Yeah.
Like it's not. It is no
It's
longer
not there.
functional. Like
You can like see their skulls getting all crunched in. It's like
gray
"God damn,
matter.
he did
We're
it."
like
Yeah.
gray batter. Okay,
Yeah.
like
He
that
finally
shit's-
murdered somebody. Nope.
Yeah, because especially Kyung-chul, he like beats the shit out of him.
in my notes, in
It's
my
literal blood work.
work now.
Yeah.
It's
In my
crazy.
notes, I said, "Oh my god, it took you long enough to kill him, but we still have 40 minutes left. What else could happen?" And I was like, "He's alive."
And then he's like, you're funny.
What I really love the well, I mean, it's horrible, but like when he's talking to Taiju, the cannibal guy in the hospital, and he's just like taunting him, like, oh yeah, she said she was pregnant, she was begging for her life, all this shit, and him just like ripping his jaw off is like
so good.
That's actually really beautiful and poetic. I'm really glad that you did that.
You want to know how I got these scars?
Yeah, he's like,
Put a
okay. He's like, oh, you think
smile
that's
on
funny?
your face.
I'll
think
give you
that's
a
funny?
permanent smiley face,
Yeah,
bitch.
it's like, go off. I love that.
Yeah.
That's
So like hot. Honestly.
that's
Yeah.
actually when I
Fun.
say monkey mode, that's what I mean.
Yeah, like ripping someone's fucking jaw off is crazy and unhinged, and I love
It's
I love it.
actually-
He's so
unhinged.
hot for that.
Unhinged by like literal definition.
Yeah,
literally
literally
unhinged jaw.
like a snake.
Literally unhinged.
Um,
Have you ever wanted to do that in like a fit of rage? Just wish you could just like
Yeah.
tear
Yeah.
someone apart.
I
Oh,
bet there's some sort of simulator that you can like really let some.
That feels so good. To just
I
like
would go to one of those places where you like beat a car with a sledgehammer.
Oh, like a
it's-
rage
it's,
room.
It's so
I
much
want
fun.
to.
Yeah, it's so
I've
much
never
fun.
been. I
one.
want to go.
I've been
Wait.
to one.
Pumpkin, we should go.
Okay, rage room.
Let's do it. For real.
Okay,
That would
okay.
be fun.
There's two bitches I know with rage. It's me and Pumpkin.
Because I don't want to do an escape room, but I'll do a rage room.
You
I
don't like
love
escape
escape
rooms?
rooms.
I want to do an escape room. I'm not with you there.
Oh.
I don't like somebody watching me trying to like figure out puzzles and stuff.
Mm.
I'm like, get off my fucking dick. We'll figure it out, okay? Like, actually, this puzzle doesn't make any sense.
Oh my god, when we were on the cruise, the guy was in the room with us. So like when we did
Ugh.
something right, he'd go. It was really cute. Yeah, it was really cute. He was our biggest cheerleader.
Aw.
I used to play those like point and click escape room games online when I was
They were so
younger.
fun. Mhm.
Oh,
Those
yeah.
were fun, but then I noticed like every time somebody would be like sitting with me watching me play, I was like, no, I know the code, okay?
Yeah.
It's not working for some
Shut up.
reason. The minute
Shut
someone
up,
is
stop,
watching
stop.
me, I'm just like, get fuck off.
Well, now
Figure
I
it out,
can't
okay?
because you're here.
It would work if you weren't here, okay?
Right.
You're jinxing me.
Stop looking at me.
Like I just feel like I would not enjoy an escape room. I'd get the puzzle wrong. And I'm like, this is stupid. I don't want to play anymore.
No, they're fun. We have to do one
They're a
together.
lot of fun.
I want to do one. I've never done one.
You never done one?
I've
We
never
have
been
a
on escape room
bunch down
before.
here in Atlanta.
Okay, should we wrap this fucking movie
Yeah,
up?
sorry.
Yeah, let's wrap this movie up.
I'm having a good time talking about it, honestly.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Any other thoughts on that whole bit?
Yeah.
Other than just one more, I just feel so bad for that guy in the
Good.
bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He gets his ass kicked out of nowhere, and then a poopy tracker shoved down his throat.
Poopy
It's
tracker shoved down his throat.
Like, poor
Yeah.
guy.
Being a truck driver already sucks.
Yeah.
Like he was already
Really
not
bad
having
day
a
on the
good
job.
day. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to say, when what's his name? King Jewel?
Mhm. Jung Chul.
Hey, Julian.
Yeah, King Julian. No, I feel like I'm being weird now. Anyway, when he's like in the tunnel and he's just laughing to himself, I was like, what the fuck is so funny? Because I didn't realize he had figured out the tracker yet. So I was
Yeah.
like,
Oh.
hardy har, bitch. Why are you laughing? What's happening? I'm so confused.
But then immediately explained.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the whole movie for me. I was like, what is going on? And the movie was like this. And I was like, oh,
Oh, okay.
okay.
Oh, okay.
All right, this is the final part 5.
Part 5.
Kyung-chul arrives at the house of Jang, brutally assaults him, and kills his other daughter. He then attempts to avoid Soo-hyun's revenge by surrendering to the police. However, Soo-hyun kidnaps him in the middle of a busy street. At Kyung-chul's house, Soo-hyun tortures him, places him under a makeshift guillotine, and leaves him holding a rope between his teeth to keep the blade from falling. Though he was all tough at first, Kyung-chul begins to panic when he learns that his son and elderly parents have arrived and are trying to visit him. As his family opens the door, it triggers another mechanism that drops the blade and beheads Kyung-chul in front of his family. The final shot of the movie is Soo-hyun breaking down into tears as he walks away.
So
This
good.
So good.
this made the movie great for me.
Because even just him like listening to it. Like he knows he doesn't need to be there for like the final moment. So you see him put his headphones in and you're like, oh damn, he's gonna like listen to it, like listen to the family and like have that moment. And then he takes the headphones out and then
are timed perfectly.
So timed perfectly, yeah.
Like so good.
It's like
I was almost expecting like a corny like smile or laugh like I got my revenge. So when he actually just like breaks down crying, I was like,
that made it
and
all
he's like
right.
finally allowed to.
Yeah.
He's allowed to feel sad.
And I feel like there's a feeling of like it's over and the revenge is still so hollow. Like, what does it do? You know?
Yeah.
It's like his fiance's sister said, like, revenge isn't gonna bring her back. But he's
it's not, but it does get that guy off the streets.
Well, and what does Soo-hyun say to his friend? He was like, there's like a crushing weight on my chest, and this is the only way to get it off or whatever. He says something like that. And it's like, yeah, even if revenge isn't gonna like fix anything, like I have to. Like this guy has to suffer the way that my fiance suffered.
Like in some way, I have to feel responsible for this.
Yeah. And it sucks so hard that the dad and sister ended up suffering because Soo-hyun wasn't fast enough.
Yeah. It's another part of that shows his selfishness because it's like, because when he tells them like, it doesn't matter, I've won anyways. And it's like, no, this is how he wins, is the way he dies. It's like by the hands of like his family, like, and seeing him in that position. And it's like one of those things where it's a very good revenge, but it's so bad. Like at the same time, it's just like,
it's like, what do you actually get out of it?
Yeah, what did you actually gain from it? It's like, I get it's so bad. Like this is good revenge, but not good revenge, if that makes sense. It's like I understand, but at the same time, like this is so bad because it's at the expense of other people. It's another one where it's like,
And I was even wondering too at the end, I was like, is he crying because he's finally allowed to grieve his fiance, or is he crying because everything that's happened has finally actually like caught up with him? Like the reality of everything is like sunk in.
Because like it's probably a little bit of all of it.
Yeah.
You know?
Because I was wondering, like, I don't know about anybody else, but like sometimes you get into that mindset where you're just very like main character, like I have to do this. And then later, like the consequences of it kind of catch up to you and you're like, oh,
did I have to do this?
Yeah. And so I was kind of wondering, like, was he feeling that sort of like, okay, I got the revenge and everything, but like I literally just traumatized like 3 people and
like,
a bunch of people died.
Do that?
Yeah, and like the sister and the dad and the like you know, a truck driver got traumatized, a nurse got traumatized, like all of that happened because I didn't just kill him. Like I was wondering if part of his tears was all of that kind of like settling in on him. Like I don't know if that was really like worth it, but I still felt like I needed to do it.
I think it's like what Lauren said. Like, I think because from the beginning, it's like I said in the beginning, it's like, oh, you didn't really show emotion when your fiance died. And then still throughout, he really doesn't show any emotion besides rage. It's just like rage, 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 rage. And then it's finally over. And it's like everything just like all at once, just like hitting him. And it's like, I love the way that like male actors portray emotions like that because, you know, men have to bottle up emotions, so when they let that shit out, it's like it comes in like a huge wave. And I kind of feel like that's
such a release.
I feel like that's so I feel like it's like that. It's like it's all coming out at once. It's like it's finally over. But oh my god.
Like oh my fucking god.
Like audio confirmation that this man that like killed his pregnant fiance is dead. And so he can finally just like mourn in the way he not normally would, but like in a way that he can now because he doesn't have to worry about this person being present.
I also really liked our serial killer's final moments because I was kind of curious, like, is that really how he thinks and views the world, or is this like an act? And I feel like the ending kind of made it like both of those things, because like at first he's like crying and begging that Soo-hyun spares him, and then he's like, just kidding, you'll never win, I don't feel pain, I don't feel regret, I don't feel guilt, you'll never win, whatever. But then when he realizes that his son and his parents are on the other side of the door about to kill him, like you see
like,
him like actually panicking, and he's like, Mom, don't open the door, like and
like,
so you're like, how much of that persona that we've seen this whole movie was like actually him and the way he views the world? How much was that him like trying to almost kind of like manifest a reality? Like he wants to be respected. So it's like, if I just act like I'm high and mighty and I'm cooler and tougher and stronger than everyone, like that'll be real.
Yeah.
And so like he just says like, you can't hurt me, I don't feel pain. Like, was he trying to make that a reality?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I was also gonna say like how interesting that scene was, like before he's like rigged into like the mouth, like that's sort of a different scene.
So
but yeah, there's like that whole scene where he's like torturing him in his room or whatever, and it's like he's all cycling through what he thinks will work. Like he tries, you know, being tough, and then he tries like begging, and then he's just like, all right, cut the shit. And like the way he like is cycling through these different ways to try to like get himself out of the situation, like what's gonna work on this guy that like he'll maybe let me go. And I thought that was an interesting scene because it's kind of long, like their little it's like probably like a 10-minute scene where he's just like trying to get out of that situation. But then and then it cuts to like he's in his like saw ass rig,
like, where like you know he's a goner.
His saw trap. And it's like, well, I wonder what his reasoning is for like bringing the parents and the son there. It's like, well, they didn't really do anything. Like that's kind of
like they had visuals on him as he left, and they were like, "That's weird. Let's go upstairs."
I think in that moment, I think Soo-hyun wasn't really thinking about how the parents and the son would feel. He wanted the serial killer to feel the way his wife felt, knowing that like people are going to grieve you. Like your death is going to hurt other people, and I think Soo-hyun just wanted to try to make him feel that.
It's really,
but even then, as like this like psycho serial killer, like, can you feel that?
I think that was his only chance to like quote unquote win, was that kind of death, because I feel like it'd be way too like satisfying just to off him, because I mean he even says it, he's like, I still won, doesn't matter, like
and he has a line, Soo-hyun has a line in somewhere in this where he's like, I want you to feel when you're at your like most painful moment, like that's when it'll be the end for you. And maybe that's why he brings the family, because it's like now like you're gonna have to, in your final moment, you'll know that like your family had to like see this really horrific thing happen to you.
Well, and
very
like,
very dark.
Like I felt like before they kind of gave us the sense that he doesn't care about his kid or his parents, because like they're all like whatever. But you can tell the way his demeanor changes when he realizes it's them on the other side of the door. Like he's like, no, don't come in here, don't look. Like he, like, there's still some tiny bit of humanity left in him, and I think he like really genuinely didn't want his son to see him die.
Who would? It's horrible.
So I think that was just Soo-hyun like trying to make him feel even a little bit of humanity, so that his death is more like psychologically like painful, not physically. But I also feel like getting was the rope attached to his teeth or his tongue, or like how was it?
It was just he was
just biting it.
So if he let it go, it would drop, but also if the door opened, there was like two different mechanisms that it would drop.
I was kind of
he couldn't just get himself out of it.
I think it was like looped through the door.
Yeah.
So when they were pulling on it, it pulled through his teeth. Yeah.
Him biting it was like holding the tension.
Okay, because I was just sort of confused how it was like stuck to his teeth. I was like, just let go, but I didn't really think about how. Yeah, okay.
Let it go.
Which that's a cool trap. I like your trap.
It's very soft.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's very I don't know if any of you have seen I Spit on Your Grave. It's a very incredibly graphic and highly wouldn't recommend it, but it is like a revenge movie. And do you know the trap that I'm talking about at the end, Kirsten? That she sets up for that guy. I was like, that's like an I Spit on Your Grave ass trap that she sets up for him.
I feel like this movie did a lot to just kind of talk about like, I don't know, just like grief and human emotions and revenge and how like messy all of it can be. And I love like morally gray characters where you're like, you're rooting for them and like you shouldn't be, but you're like, if I were in his shoes, I'd probably do the same. Like, I don't know. Like,
it's very relatable. I mean, I think we've all had someone in our life that it's like, oh, if someone killed you, like you love someone so much and you say to them, like, if someone ever hurt you, like I would do anything.
Oh, I thought
that
you meant
like
in
that
a
sort of
revenge
sentiment.
way. I see.
Yeah, like or like I would seek out revenge on someone if they hurt someone I love.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Sort of thing. So it's like he's a very relatable character in that way. It's like, if someone freaking killed Joe, it's like, I'd go crazy. Like if I knew the person that did it, like how could you not? It's a very compelling, like human story.
Yeah. Slay.
It slayed the Boots house down.
It was great.
Yay.
Yeah, I think it could have been a little shorter, but only maybe by like 20 minutes. Maybe make it like 2 hours long.
Which is still like
most
like,
of the scenes were
I don't
like
think there's
needed.
any lulls.
No, I don't think there were any points where I was like, oh, boring. Let me look at my phone.
Wrap it up.
This movie like had me. I was like, what is happening? What are you doing? What's happening? Why would you do that? Why would you say that?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Siberia, do you want to like introduce our next category? Give us your movie.
Yeah.
So in y'all's audience poll, our vast audience voted that we will be doing slasher films.
This is my magnum opus.
This is your zombie. And so I'm blessed with the first pick of the slasher block, and I am not like the biggest slasher gal. Like I haven't seen many of the like classic baby girls. And so I'm going to go with one that's like kind of more recent and kind of like takes a twist on the slasher vibe.
Okay.
It has a 71% critics and 67% audience on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh.
It is from 2017. My pick for slasher is Happy Death Day.
Okay.
Oh, I've never seen that.
I've seen this. It's pretty good.
Hi, this is editing Pumpkin. Siberia changed her mind. She actually chose Saw for her slasher movie, and you can watch Saw on Pluto, YouTube, Hulu, Amazon, all those places. So watch Saw instead. Goodbye.
Okay, but we will
sign us out.
See you next week to kick off our slasher category with Happy Death Day. Everyone watch it, and we will see you next time. We are the Geeks. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.